underneath your last word, unless you don't have space, then just go to the next page. Put a squiggle to show that even though this is the same list, we're on a different day. And then today's date, which is September 1st, 2020. And we will add 2 words today. We're going to start with number 8. So a number 8 goes on the left side of the pink line. And then the word pennant goes on the right side of the pink line. The word pennant is a noun. Oh, sorry, it's spelled P-E-N-N-A-N-T. And it is a noun, so it is a person, place, thing, or idea. Oh, and Ethan, you're helper number 1 today, so you're going to be the one who does these cards at home. So make sure you have every word spelled exactly correctly and written correctly, okay? So pennant is a noun, and it is a long, narrow flag shaped like a triangle. So if you've seen flags, you can draw a little picture, but don't make it huge. That look like this, and they say like a college name, kind of like that. That's a pennant. You may draw this diagram, but you don't have to. But that is a pennant. If you are drawing the diagram, pause, because now it's time for word number 9, which is the word time warp. Time warp. It is 2 words, so make sure you have that space between the 2 words. It is spelled T-I-M-E space W-A-R-P. Time warp. And it is also a noun. And it means a shift in the progress of time that makes it, oops, sorry, not that makes, but that causes it, causes is a better word, that causes it to stop, slow down, or speed up. So time warp is a noun, and it is a shift in the progress of time that causes it, time, to stop, slow down, or speed up. Does time actually stop or slow down or speed up? No. Does that actually happen, Zadie? No. No. So is a time warp a real thing that actually happens? Victoria? No. Does it sometimes feel like time has stopped or slowed down or sped up, class?
Yes.
Yes, sometimes it does feel that way. So a time warp is not a real thing. But sometimes we feel like we're in a time warp. Thank you, Zari. Sometimes we feel like we're in a time warp because something has happened that makes time feel like it's stopped. maybe something crazy or shocking happened that makes it feel like time has stopped. Maybe you're doing something really boring that makes it feel like time has slowed down. Or maybe you're doing something really fun that makes it feel like time has sped up. Okay, so once you're finished writing the vocabulary words, put your vocabulary notebook away, and then open your textbook. Make sure you close it before you put it away, otherwise pages are going to get ripped out. Then open your book to page 86. Put that in your return to school because you need to copy it into your notebook tonight. Quickly, please. Okay, so your vocabulary notebook should be put away. Your pencil should be in the opening of your desk or on top of your desk. You will not need it for a minute. And you should be on page 86. This character web graphic organizer is the same as what we did yesterday for Anna Gomez. So as we read, we're going to look for character traits for Gloria and Dr. Street. Remember, character traits are not their actions. Sometimes their actions or their words can lead us to figure out their character trait, but it's not what they actually did. Character traits are things about their personality. Like yesterday, we figured out that Anna Gomez was enthusiastic, she was curious, she was supportive, and she was sensible. So we're looking for things about their personality. Now, some of the things they do and say will lead us to understand what their character traits are, but we're not actually writing things they did or said, unless they lead us to one of their character traits. So as we read, we're going to be filling out a character web for Gloria and Dr. Street. Okay, so you should be open to page 86. Make sure you're sitting up straight in a good reading position. Pencils should be out of your hands. You will not need it until we are filling out our chart, which will not be for a minute. And go ahead and read the genre. Aaron, make sure when you're at school you have your face shields on, so pull your mask below your chin and read loud and slow. I asked you to read the genre. Where do you find the genre in all the stories we read so far? Make sure you're paying attention to what I asked. What is the genre, Aaron? Remember, genre is that word that starts with a G. So what is it?
Realistic fiction.
Louder.
Realistic fiction is a make-up story that could have happened in real life.
So, the genre of what we're going to read today is realistic fiction. Realistic, of course, means it could have happened in real life. But fiction means it didn't. It's made up, but it could have happened. So that means we're not going to be reading about any fantasy things. So, thinking about our word time warp, is there going to be an actual time warp in this story if it's realistic? Cullen?
No.
No. So it's probably we're using that word time warp because something has happened that makes it feel like time has stopped, slowed down, or sped up. So everything we read in this story could happen in real life. Maybe it did, but not in this situation. Gloria and Dr. Street are made-up characters. Okay, so Aaron, read about what we're going to read. Tell us what we're going to find out as we read today. What question are we going to answer?
How does a trip to the supermarket change Gloria?
Good. So as we read, once we're finished with the story, we're going to find out, how does a regular old trip to the grocery store change someone's life? Okay, Aaron, go ahead and read us the title, the author, and the illustrator on page 87. Loud and slow.
The Astronaut and the Onion by Anne Cameron, illustrated by Anne Rich.
And you can go ahead and read.
My mother was making spaghetti sauce, she said.
Nope. Remember, a period means. So So try again.
My mother was making spaghetti sauce. She said, Gloria, honey, would you go buy me an onion? Sure, I said. She gave me some money and I...
Good. Okay, so now we know why she's going to the grocery store. Why is she going to the grocery store? Carla?
Because her mom wanted her to get an onion so she can make a spaghetti sauce.
Good. So she needs an onion. Do you think she's going to come out of the grocery store with just that onion and nothing else? Probably not. Let's find out. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Thank you, Aaron. Read next, Zadie. Make sure you are paying attention. I have my clipboard. If you're not and you don't know where we are, you will get a consequence. Loud and slow.
The store was crowded with old people holding tightly to their shopping carts. Little kids hollering to their parents for candy. And lots of people staring at shopping lists and blocking the aisles.
Keep going.
I dug around all the carts and went back where the vegetables are. From all the onions in the bin, I took the prettiest, a big round one. Light tan and shiny with a silvery glow to its skin.
Go ahead and read that last little sentence.
I carried it to the express checkout and stood at the very end of the long line.
Go, make sure you read the words in the correct order. So please read that sentence again, but read the words in the correct order.
I carried it to the express checkout and stood at the end of a very long line.
Good. Okay, thank you, Zadie. Go ahead and read next. Zari.
Next to me, there was a giant bee's baby food display. It was like a wall of glass and taller than I am. All little jars were stacked up to look like a castle with
Not wind. What does that word say? No, what is you said wind. That's not the word wind.
Castle with pennants.
Pennants.
Pennants that said baby powder stick above the castle doorway.
Zari, you're reading too fast. You read two words that are different than what it says. So start with that sentence again. All the little jars and go slow. You read two words differently than how they're written. All the little jars.
All the little jars were stacked up to look like a castle with pennants that said baby powder.
Okay, you did it again, Zari. That does not say powder.
Power.
Try it again. All the little
jars were stacked
You're going too fast. I can tell you right now, Zari, you're going too fast. Slow down. First of all, we can't keep up with you. Second of all, if you read too fast, then you're not reading all the words exactly as they are printed. Make sure you are staying with us and not reading ahead. I hear somebody reading out loud, and they're reading ahead. Zari.
All the little jars were stacked up to look like a castle, with pennants that said baby power sticking out above the castle doorways and windows. At the top, there was a high tower with a reed and white flag.
What does that say?
Red and white flag that said Berkby's builds better babies. I started counting the jars, but when I got to 346, I gave up. There must have been at least 1,000.
Good. So that whole paragraph was about one thing. What was the main idea of that paragraph? What is the main idea? Victoria? I can't hear you at all. Remember, the main idea is not a summary of what's happening. It is one complete, full sentence that says what a paragraph is about. Remember, where is the first place that you look for a topic sentence, or for a main idea? Cullen?
The first sentence.
The first sentence of the paragraph. Victoria, what is the first sentence of that paragraph? You were about to summarize. That's not what the main idea is. What is the first sentence of that paragraph that Zari just read? Louder.
Next to me, there was a giant Berkeley's baby food display.
Does that work as a main idea sentence? Is that whole paragraph about this giant Birkbee's baby food display?
Yes.
Yes. So that works as the main idea of this sentence. And we have several supporting detail sentences, like, it was like a wall of glass and taller than I am. That says that it was giant. Then it says all the little jars were stacked up to look like a castle with pennants that said baby power sticking out above the castle doorways and windows. That tells us that it was a baby food display. So there are lots of supporting details for that sentence. Okay, Zari, keep reading. Loud and slow.
The checkout line didn't move. To pass the time, I started tossing my onion from hand to hand. I tried to improve and make my throws harder to catch.
Keep going. Oh, wait, no, actually, no, never mind. I'm sorry. Thank you, Zari. Uh-oh. Do you think that's such a great idea? Throwing an onion back and forth at the grocery store?
No.
Oh, speaking of, what's the setting of this story? What's the setting of this story? Smith?
The setting is at the grocery store.
At the grocery store. How do you know? What tells you that this is at the grocery store, other than the fact that it says she was at the grocery store? How would you be able to tell, even if it did not have the words grocery store or supermarket in it, Smith?
I can tell because she found a lot of baby food.
She found a display of
And
baby food.
people are holding and pushing shopping carts.
They have shopping
and-
carts.
And she found an onion.
She found an onion. What else? And now she's waiting in line. Where do we see lines? Where do we see checkout lines, Smith?
At the grocery store.
At the grocery store. We see them at all stores, but if you have an onion in the checkout line, you're probably at a grocery store. Okay, thank you, Smith. Go ahead and read next. Oops, I just picked Zari's stick again, so Zari, I'm going to put you back in. But I'm going to let somebody else go. But I'll put you back in. Zadie again. I know she just went, but at least it wasn't in a row. Loud and slow. Pull it below your chin. Louder and slower.
A woman wearing a sky blue jogging suit got in line behind me. She was holding a cereal box. She smiled at me and I smiled back. I decided to show her what a really good catcher I am. I made a wild and daring onion throw.
Good. So, don't turn the page. We almost always discuss a page before we turn it. Do not turn the page. Wait, just like you wait for me to tell you when to open your book, you wait for me to tell you when you turn the page. So, what she's done on this first page really kind of give me an idea of what kind of person Gloria is. Do you think so? You can show me. Do you think that the actions on this page show you what kind of person she is? So, first, what she did was she picked out what she thought was the very best onion, the prettiest one, the best looking one. I don't know about you, but usually when I go to the grocery store, I just pick out an onion. I don't spend time looking for one that looks perfect. I mean, I'm not going to pick one that looks gross, but I'm just going to glance really quick, pick one that looks fine, and go. But Gloria spent some time making sure she had the best onion. Then she tried to count all the jars in the baby food display, and she got all the way up to 346. So did she give up on things easily, do you think? She did give up, but after she got to 346. Then she tossed the onion back and forth. Do you do that if you're like a nervous, scared person at the grocery store? No, because you're probably too scared you're going to drop it or it's going to land somewhere else. Or you're going to get in trouble. Then she notices somebody looking at her, and she wants to show off. She wants to get that lady's attention. So she probably likes to impress people. So we already know from this very first page that she wants the best. She doesn't give up easily. She's not shy. And she wants to impress people. So, do you think we can start filling out her character web? Yes, definitely. The book literally says that she made a wild and daring onion throw. Is she wild and daring?
Yes.
Most definitely. Because she tossed, well, we don't have to write all that. We'll just talk about it because we don't have enough room. She's wild and daring because she tossed the onion back and forth, first of all. Then she decided to really toss it so she could show off. We can also say that she tests herself. Because if you're tossing an onion back and forth and you decide to really toss it, do you necessarily know that you're going to catch it?
Nope.
No. But if you think you can, you're testing yourself. You're seeing, can I catch it? Let's find out. Okay, so go ahead and turn the page. You can kind of look at the picture and already kind of guess what may happen. But let's read to find out for sure. Zadie, go ahead and read that first paragraph, that first block of text, loud and slow.
I missed the catch.
Uh-oh. So she tests herself, but did she pass this test?
No.
No.
The onion kept going, straight for the middle of the baby food castle. The castle was going to fall.
Uh-oh. What does the picture tell us happened, class? Did it hit the baby food display?
Yes.
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 Keep reading, Aaron. Loud and slow.
My folks would have to pay for every broken jar. The store manager would kill me. After that, my folks would bring me back to life and tell me things that would be much worse than death.
Keep going.
I was paralyzed. I shut my eyes.
Now we just read that word paralyzed. Remember, when you get to the end of a block of text, even if it's very short, pause, wait for me to see if I'm going to say anything. We know that to be medically paralyzed means you are actually unable to move. Something in your body has been damaged to where you can't move. Now, to be figuratively paralyzed means you feel like you can't move or you feel helpless, but you're not actually. In this situation, was Gloria medically paralyzed, as in there was an accident and now something in her body is damaged and she can't move? Or is she figuratively paralyzed, in which she has such a strong feeling about something that she feels like she can't move and she is helpless? Zari?
She feels like she's paralyzed.
So she is figuratively paralyzed. Not medically, because even though she threw the onion at the baby food jars, they didn't fall and damage her body in some way to where she can't move. So she feels like it. She's so scared that all these baby food jars are about to break that she feels paralyzed. Okay, Aaron, go ahead and read the next block of text.
I didn't hear a crash.
Louder and slower.
I didn't hear a crash. Maybe I had gone deaf from fright, or maybe I was in time.
Go slow. You're going too fast.
Or maybe I was in a time warp because of my fear. In 50 years, the onion would land, and that would be the end.
So there was no crash. Do you think she's actually in a time warp and time is slowed down and that's why she hasn't heard the crash yet? Cullen?
No.
No. Let's find out what really happened. Thank you, Aaron. Read next, Zari. Go slow.
And
Carla, focus on the book, please. Zari, do you know where we are? Okay, then go ahead.
I felt a tape on my
Not a
shoulder.
tape. There's no E at the end to make that A long. So it's not tape, it's...
I felt a tap on my shoulder. If I opened my eyes, I would see the store manager and all the broken jars. I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to know how bad it was.
Carla, read your book, please.
There was a tap again, right on the top of my head. I heard a woman's voice. I have your onion. I opened my eyes. The woman in the goggle
No, go slow.
jogging suit had handed the onion to me.
Okay, stop. So, we thought her onion was going to hit the display. The picture made it seem that way. Gloria's behavior made it seem that way. It's what should have happened, right? If you throw an onion at something, it should hit it. But did that happen? Did that happen? Kingston? No. What did happen? The woman in the jogging suit caught it. So, she didn't hear the sound of it hitting the jars, not because there was a time warp or because she had gone deaf out of fear, but because somebody saved her life and caught it. Did they actually save her life? No, she was just being dramatic. Yes, her parents would probably have to pay for the food and they would be mad at her, but her life would not be over like what she's been saying. She was being dramatic. Okay, thank you, Zari. Go ahead and read next. Kingston, loud and slow. Pull it all the way below your chin. Loud and slow.
There came a tap again.
No, we already read that.
Lucky I used to play.
A little slower so we can keep up with you. And louder.
Lucky I used to play basketball.
Not basketball. Go slow, please.
Lucky I used to play baseball, she said.
Louder. We cannot hear you.
Oh, I see. I pressed the onion. Oh, I'm on again. You're welcome, she said.
Go slow. You're going too fast.
You're welcome. That's all she said. She had brown eyes with a sparkle in them, and her hair was shiny black rainbows.
Louder. If I can't hear you, they definitely can't hear you.
She wore blue-green earrings that hung on tiny gold chains. She tilted her head. The earrings spun around, and I saw that they were the earth. I mean, made to look
woman said, "Lucky I used to play baseball"? Why do you think the woman said, "Lucky I used to play baseball"? Carla, where are you?
I went to the restroom real quick.
Okay. Okay. Victoria. Why do you think she said, "Lucky I used to play baseball"? She caught it? Well, why did she say, "Lucky I used to play baseball"? If she didn't, she might not have caught it. She played it, so she's probably good at catching things. Especially something like an onion that is shaped somewhat similarly to a baseball. Why do you think she says "you're welcome"? Nobody said thank you. But why did she say "you're welcome"? Aaron?
She probably said "you're welcome" because even though she didn't say thank you, she still did something that is nice. So
Do you think that Gloria felt thankful?
yes.
But why do you think she didn't say thank you? She felt thankful, probably I would, and she seems like it. But why do you think she didn't say thank you? Zari?
Because she was still like scared.
She was
that she
still
might get in
so
trouble.
scared and felt paralyzed, so she couldn't really get any words out other than a moan of like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened." Good. Now, what are the first things that Gloria notices about this woman? What are the first things that Gloria notices about this woman? Victoria, the answer is not going to be back there. Colin?
She has brown eyes with sparkle in them.
She has sparkly brown eyes. What else? Carla?
She's wearing a jogging suit.
She was wearing a jogging suit. Okay, she noticed that much earlier. Zadie?
She has earrings and small chains on it.
That look like what?
The earth.
The earth. And Smith, what's one more thing?
She has black hair.
She has black hair that's in ringlets. What are ringlets? Who knows what ringlets are? Kingston? Not ring. Well, they're kind of like rings, but if your hair is in ringlets. So spirals. So if your hair looks like spiral rings, what does that mean about your hair? Cullen?
They're curvy.
It's curly in very small little curls. Not like big curls or frizzy curls like mine, but very small little curls. And lots of them. Good. So why did she just now notice those instead of as soon as the lady caught the onion? Why is she just now noticing that after they've been standing there for probably about like a minute or two? Zadie?
At first, she felt like she was paralyzed, so her eyes were closed.
She was too scared. Her eyes were closed, or even if they're open, if you're really scared or really concentrating on something or thinking about something, are you really seeing what's in front of you sometimes? Not really. So before, she was too scared or she was concentrating too much on the onion and the baby food jars and all of that. But now she's starting to come out of that paralyzed feeling. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Thank you, Kingston. Read next, Carla. Loud and slow. Carla, make sure you read slow so that we can keep up with you and so you can make sure you're reading the words correctly.
Your earrings are beautiful, I said. She smiled. Some friend got them for me, she said, to remind me of a trip we made. When she said trip, her face started to look familiar, but I didn't know why. Then I remembered, I have seen you, I said. I saw you on TV. She smiled. Could be. And you came right here in town, but don't live here anymore, I said. That's right, she said. And are you?
No, go slow. Read them in the correct order.
And you are, weren't you?
Aren't you?
Weren't you? Mr. Grace.
Not Mr. What does that say?
Dr. Grace Street, the astronaut.
So, how did she finally figure out who this was? What first kind of made her think, it wasn't her eyes. What was the first thing that started to make her think, wait, I know who you are? Ethan? Not her face. She saw her face a lot longer ago. Michaela? Well, what was the first thing that she noticed that started to make her look familiar? Make sure that you're not answering my question with the question. The answer is not going to have the same words as the question. Victoria? The earrings. The earrings that were shaped like little earths. And then she said someone gave them to me to remind us of a trip. Well, anywhere you go on Earth could remind you of Earth, but usually you might have earrings that remind you of that specific place. Whereas in space, you get to see the whole Earth. So, earrings that look like the Earth would remind you of that. So the first thing is she notices the earrings. Then, when Dr. Street mentions her trip, then Gloria's like, wait, I saw you on TV. And then she remembered that that lady on TV lived in the same town as Gloria, or used to. And then she put all of that together, the Earth earrings, seeing her on TV, and the fact that she used to live in the town. She puts all of that together to figure out that this is who? Carla?
Dr. Grace Street.
And what does she do? The astronaut. So she realizes this is a real life astronaut right in front of me. Good. What does this tell us about Gloria? The fact that she remembered that she saw this lady on TV and she remembers her name. What does this tell us about Gloria? Colin?
She has a good memory.
She has a good memory. She remembers important events. So good. We can add that. Has a good memory. So she's aware of what's going on in the world. Okay, Victoria, go ahead and read next. Loud and slow. Not title. Make sure you're facing this way when you read. So like turn your book a little bit. There you go. So that you're facing this way instead of, because especially with the face shields, it makes it hard. But if you're facing us, we can hear you a little more. Yeah.
She tilted her head, and the little earths on both her ears spun around. That's me, she said. I was amazed because I never thought I would meet a famous person in my life. And yet, once, right?
Not once, but
And yet one was right beside me in the supermarket. And I myself, Gloria Jones, was talking to her, all because of my ring.
keep going.
We learned about the space station in school last week. I said, you were
A little louder.
You were up there.
Cover up the ing. And what word do you have? There you go. I'm trying to decide. I have something I want to say. No, you're good. Okay, so we know the genre of this story is realistic fiction. So what has happened so far in this story that tells us this could actually happen? Anything, but just tell me one. Zari, tell me one thing. What's happened so far in this story that can happen in real life? Pretty much everything. But give me a specific example.
That you may throw something and you may feel paralyzed because you think that you might get in trouble.
Very good. Throwing something that maybe you should have and it not going the way you want it, and then being almost paralyzed with fear that it's going to break and you're going to get in trouble. Good. Zadie, tell me another thing that happened that could happen in real life.
Someone can actually go to the supermarket.
You can actually go to the grocery store. Confidence. So supermarket, not supermarket. Do you see the difference? Very good. Cullen?
You might meet a famous person in the supermarket.
You might meet a famous person in a supermarket. I've done that, except not super famous, but semi-famous. Like 12 years ago, I was in Walmart after a concert, and the people who had done the concert were also at Walmart. And I saw them, and I talked to them. It's a band that was big when I was in college, but isn't anymore. Called Boys Like Girls. That's the name of the band. It's an old. And they weren't that famous then, but they were famous enough. I have a picture with them. So yes, that can actually happen. It happened to me. Not as famous as an astronaut, but still pretty cool. Anything else? What else? Lots of it. Carla?
You might try to show off your skills.
You might try to show off your skills. Definitely. If you have skills, you're probably going to want to show them off. Good. Anybody else that hasn't had Smith?
There could be a really long line at the grocery store.
There could be a really long line at the grocery store, especially if you go to the Kroger in Poplar Plaza. Aaron, did you get to answer yet? Okay. What about, can you study space in school?
Yes.
Yes, we're going to study space in school. Do astronauts really orbit the Earth in space stations?
Yep.
Yes, there is a space station up above. I have an app that tells me, hey, go look outside right now. And if it's not cloudy, you can see it go across the sky. And you can. It's like a little star, but it's moving.
Is that shooting star?
It's really cool. It's not a shooting star because it doesn't go away. And it's not as fast.
I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. It comes almost every other night. Okay, very good. Let's move on. It's a really cool thing, though. It's really cool. When I was in Idaho visiting my brother, there was no lights anywhere. And just within like 5 minutes, I saw 7 satellites just go across the sky because there's no light, so you can see everything. It's really cool. Okay. Thank you, Victoria. Go ahead and read next, Smith, and you're going to read to the end of the page. Do you know where we are, Smith?
No, because my dad came in here.
Okay, well you have to pay attention because I could tell you weren't on the right page with us. We're on. My team and I were there. About almost to the end of page 92.
Okay. My team and I were there, Dr. Street said. What is space like? You know, she said. How could I know? I said. We're always in space, Dr. Street said. We're in space right now. Yes, I said, but what is it like out there where you went? Out there, it must seem different. Do you really want to know? She asked, and I said yes.
I forgot to add something to Gloria's. character chart, she has a good memory. And the fact that she especially remembers Dr. Street means she's aware of important events, because astronauts going to space is pretty important. We learn more information about space and what the universe is like. Now, think about what Dr. Street is saying. She doesn't always give direct answers right away. Because when Gloria asks what space is like, she's just like, you know,